You are listening to the Estheticians Earning More podcast with Brittany Hageman, episode number 190. Do you want to double your business in 1 year? Are you an esthetician solo business owner that is very, very tired because you are working for every single dollar that you earn? Are you making between $5,000 and $7,000 a month consistently in your esthetician business? And the only way that you can see that you can make more money is to add more hours? Is the money going out of your business just as fast as it's coming in? Do you feel like you're on the verge of burnout? Do you not understand how other estheticians can actually make a profit? If you say yes to any of these questions, I can help you. In my one-to-one 6-month individualized coaching program, I will teach you to double your business in 1 year. I combine proven strategies and business systems along with mindset coaching to teach you how to change the systems in your business that aren't making you money. My clients that have incorporated all of these systems into their business consistently have seen phenomenal results. If you're interested in working with me, use the link in the show notes. I cannot wait to meet you. Happy Monday. I hope you're having a great day. I am back today to talk to you about something that I talk to my clients a lot about. And I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with, and it's failure, or maybe even the fear of failure. And failure, again, if we talk about how, from an evolutionary standpoint, how failure is important, because if you fail to provide food, you fail to have, shelter, you could have serious consequences in your life as a person. And so, especially back when we lived in, cave times. So there's that biological aspect that we are fighting against, being afraid of failure. And it's something that I coach a lot of my clients on, and we really question it. But I want to talk about what is failure, in my opinion, and what isn't. Because I think a lot of things that are normal, everyday business things that normal, everyday esthetician business owners experience, some, maybe even I would say even a lot of estheticians consider failure. And so they either don't take action, or they take action and they quit right away doing things because they don't want to feel failure. So a small example, I'm just going to start giving some examples that I hear from discovery calls, coaching calls with clients, things like that over the past 5 years. Something that I've heard a ton, and I know you may be like, stop it, I know. But when it comes to product sales, and people are so afraid of giving the wrong product to someone. And they believe that if they give someone a product that is not right for that skin, then they have failed. But how are you going to learn what's the right product to give to different skin types if you don't fail? And I'm saying that in quotes. How are you going to learn? Yes, you can take classes. Yes, you can be in Facebook groups. Those things help. But there's no education that is going to substitute actual trial and error. And you're going to hear this from me over and over again in this episode because I really want to hammer it in to your head. Actual trial and error is part of business. Trial and error, trying something and not working the way you expect it to work, that is not failure. Giving someone a product and they didn't like it, it broke them out, they had a reaction, they just didn't like it. It is information for you. It is information for you to learn and to improve upon and to figure things out for the next client. It is not evidence that you're a bad esthetician, you don't know what you're doing, you're bad at recommending products, that you shouldn't have ever recommended products to begin with. It's not like, oh, I knew it. This was a mistake. None of these things are true. Your brain will make all of this to be true. But it's not. It's not true at all. It just means that that product didn't work for that client. Maybe you could have known in advance, maybe not. Like the manufacturers should give a lot of guidance about what kind of products are good for right types of people, but real life, real world, not the same. And maybe it's the right product for them, but they're using it the wrong way. And if you aren't curious about that, if you instantly take it personally as a failure, as you did something wrong, or as being angry with the client, it becomes like this whole thing of like emotion and frustration and shame. You aren't going to learn anything. And now you're out money and you've learned nothing. But you can be really curious. Like, I had a cleanser that everyone loved and some person didn't love it. And I was like, why don't they love it? And I realized they were using way too much, like way too much. But the only way I could have figured that out was by asking lots of questions, being curious, genuinely curious why it didn't work for them versus like really frustrated that they're returning it or they don't like it and blaming myself or blaming them for the situation. It doesn't work. You need to be curious when things don't work the way that you want them to work, not blaming yourself or your client. It's super important to be curious. Another example of clients thinking they failed. If someone cancels a booking and doesn't reschedule it immediately. I have seen this and I'm laughing because I'm like, oh, I love you guys. I felt this way in the past. I've seen this time and time again with my esthetician clients. Complete meltdown. So upset that someone has canceled. And they either blame the client or they blame themselves or they do both. We're like, this client, doesn't really care, doesn't value me, doesn't really want, whatever, or I did something wrong, I'm terrible, whatever. I want you to actually look at what's happening and talk to the client. I know that there's some estheticians out there that probably need more training, need more help. Maybe it is something that they need to improve. But most of the estheticians I talk to, like 99% of the estheticians I talk to, are great estheticians. Like, that has been proven time and time again. That is not the issue. They are great at connecting with their clients. Their clients like them. They love them. They want to see them again. It's nothing to do with them as a person or as an esthetician. It's something totally different. They don't have childcare. They are sick. The list could go on and on. It does not mean that you are a bad esthetician, a bad business owner, and something has gone wrong and that you failed. It doesn't mean any of those things. Unless they specifically had said to you, hey, listen, the last treatment, I really hated the results, so I'm not coming back. Okay, good feedback. You need to hear that. If you need to hear, if that's the case, then that's what you need to spend your time and energy on. But if you haven't heard that, that's not the case. If you know for a fact that they loved their lashes, they loved their skin, whatever it was that you did, and they have loved it and it's been a consistent thing, it's not because of your service. And especially if you have a relationship with that person and they seem really happy to see you, it's not because of you and your connection with them either. There are so many variables of why someone will cancel and not come in. Has nothing to do with you 99% of the time. It's always them. Like, I would love to go get another Procel. I got a Procel almost a year ago now. And I really want to go and get like the series of 5. But there's a lot of variables in my life that has prevented that from happening. And none of them is because I didn't love the service or my esthetician or anything like that. None of it has anything to do with that. That is not at all in my thought process when I think about why I haven't gone. And it's hard not to take it personally, but again, you need to be curious when these things happen, not critical of yourself. Another way that I see this present itself is in marketing. And It's usually marketing that makes you a little bit uncomfortable. So if you are really comfortable marketing online, it's talking to people in person. If you're really comfortable talking to people in person, it's talking to people online. If you're uncomfortable with it all, it's with it all. And the way that I see this happening is people will try a strategy, maybe one strategy, not even multiple strategies. And this is where the problem starts, because they're not trying multiple strategies, they're just doing one, and they try it really hard for a couple days, couple weeks, and it doesn't work the way they expect it. And they're like, this doesn't work. I'm terrible at this. This will never work. I can't do this. But there's no evidence for any of that. You can do it. It most likely will work. You haven't given it nearly enough time. My clients, then February, I'm recording this in February 2025. My clients who've gotten 5, 6, 7, 10 new clients this month so far, we're not even just over halfway through the month as I'm recording this, they are posting twice a day on social media. Lots and lots and lots of posting. They are talking to people in their everyday life all the time about their business. They're putting the business cards everywhere. They are doing all the strategies I'm teaching them very, very consistently, a lot. It's not like I did 8 posts this week and it didn't work. Or I talked to one person for the entire month. That won't work. That is true. It could work just very slowly. And if you want a lot of clients, that will not work to get you a lot of clients. But as opposed to being curious about that and curious about your expectations around it and curious about your feelings and willing to work through it, people will just be like, it doesn't work, I don't want to do it anymore. And just give up. And again, that's like a normal human thing. I'm not trying to shame anyone. That's just how our brains work. It's like, I didn't get the result that I want, I'm not doing it. But if you aren't critical of what's really happening and you're curious, like what's actually happening, it's so much easier to solve that problem. In that case, usually the esthetician has anxiety around posting, around talking to people. And again, the fear of it failing, of putting themselves out there and it not working the way they want it to work is too much to think about. So they just don't do it, or they do it just enough to prove themselves right. And so in that situation, being curious why it's more comfortable to not grow your clientele than it is to grow your clientele and not get the results you want in the exact way you expect them to be. Why would you rather stay here in the just no new clients or very few new clients here and there? One of the things I have been, as I've had newer esthetician clients, I ask them like how much do you want this, and how much are you willing to like push yourself? Because you aren't going to get good at product sales if you aren't willing to push yourself past the point of not being comfortable. Your nervous system is never going to learn that someone canceling isn't a reflection of you until you work through it consistently and you're willing to face that. You aren't going to learn how to look at your numbers, understand your numbers, if you don't look at them and be curious and face what's happening for you when you do that. Something I talk with a lot of my clients about is looking at their numbers. And the only way they get better at it is by doing it, and we talk through it and being curious of what stories they have in their head. I love this so much. This happens all the time. My clients will be like, I have no appointments next week, nothing. And I'm like, okay, so you have 0 appointments. They're like, well, no, I have 5 or 9 or whatever. They have a number, they have some. I'm like, okay, so you have 5. How many do you want? So let's look at the actual facts in front of us. And our brains don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. They want to go right to, I'm a failure, I'm bad at this, I can't do this. Because that will keep us safe. But what if we actually look at what we have? We see what is working. So you have 5 appointments next week. That's 5 people that want to come in and see you. That's fantastic. If you have 5 people, you can get 5 more. Maybe not this next week, but you can get 5 more in the next month or 2. It's totally possible. But if you believe that 5 clients in 1 week is a fail, something is wrong with you, you're not good at it, it's so hard to show up. If someone isn't interested in a product when you tell them about it and you think something is wrong with you or something is wrong with them for them not buying it, no lessons have been learned in that interaction. It's important to be curious. And curiosity may lead to you improving your system, but that doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It just means you are learning from that conversation. That is okay. That's not a fail. The only way you're going to get good at it is by evaluating from a place of curiosity, not a place of judgment. We're not judging ourselves. We're not judging our clients. It's like, okay, I talked about this product in a way that made sense to me, and they did not seem to, they were not picking up what I was putting down. They were like, Like, let me write down what I said, like the bullet notes. Does this make sense to someone? Is there something that I could have said differently? Was that person on the phone texting their partner about dinner? Was it, they were not really paying attention and I wasn't really explaining it? Did I explain it in such a great way that I've explained it to like 20 other people and they're always really excited to buy it? They just weren't interested. But you don't know this until you've done this and you've thought about it critically. And it's not a fail that they didn't buy it. It's I'm laughing because I know you're gonna roll your eyes. It's a learning opportunity. Don't roll your eyes, okay? I understand it's so frustrating in the moment because you need the money, you want this, right? You want it. But if you really want it, you have to be willing to let go of that it's not working or it won't work. And you have to embrace curiosity of what's really happening here. Because there's such different ways of looking at something. What's really happening here? I know, especially when I first started treating acne, and I had days where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is so hard, But I learned really quickly that the more curiosity I had about why my clients weren't getting the results that either me or they expected, the better I got at advising them and figuring out what really is going on. And again, not in a critical way of me or them, but just like I said before, like the person using way too much cleanser, like that's going to irritate your skin if you're using so much cleanser. The person is super dry and they are not on anything super exfoliating. What's happening? Like, are they not using their moisturizer? Are they only using a little bit? Like, what's really happening? And again, not criticizing them. This is not judging them. This is just genuinely like, I wonder what is what's happening here? What could be happening? And if it's not that, then what else could it be? And if it's not that, what else could it be? And continuing to ask yourself that. And you notice that nowhere in there was I like, what else could I have done differently? Or what else could they have done differently? Because maybe it's a combination of both, which is great. It's great information because if you actually learn it from that experience, you won't do it again. But if you don't learn it and you just chalk it up as they don't really want it, or you're really bad at this, or something like that, nothing is learned. And of course, there's some situations where it is what it is. It's not there's not a lot of learning there. But the only way that you actually know that to be true is if you've done it enough and then you have the wisdom to see the difference. You have the wisdom to be like, oh, this is an isolated situation that is just going to be what it's going to be, right? But if your entire experience is something that doesn't go the way you want it to go with a product, and your instant reaction is, I'm terrible at this, or they're terrible, or whatever, you don't have enough knowledge to know when it actually isn't a problem, right? Like, where there actually isn't anything to be learned from it. It just is a thing that happens sometimes. People just don't like the, whatever. Things happen, right? Like, people change their minds. People sometimes are crazy. It's just but you have to, in order to stand firm and be like, oh no, this person's just not my client. This person's a little not what I want to be around. You can't have that until you've had the opposite, which is completely, totally knowing what is happening in a situation. And it's really uncomfortable to have curiosity, but it's actually a lot less comfortable to have curiosity and see what's really happening than just blaming yourself. So what do I think is failure? I think failure is not allowing yourself to really try and not allowing yourself to actually do the thing. And this can be from marketing to product sales to trying new services. It's bringing on a new service and being so scared of the price that you offer it at a crazy discount because you're so afraid people are not going to book it and you can't bear the idea. So it's just easier to do something that you know people are going to say yes to, and that you're losing money. I'm not saying that a judgment. I'm just saying that is what we do because we're so afraid of the other option, which is nobody has booked it yet. Why? And no, it's not because it's too much money. Unless you're in an area where there isn't a lot of money, which that's a specific situation. But people are spending money on skincare. I can tell you that. People are spending money on services. I can tell you that for certainty. People with money for sure are. So if you're in that area and people aren't booking, why? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not because you're a bad esthetician. None of those things that your brain wants to tell you to keep you safe. So when you find your brain telling yourself it's not working, it never will work, I'm not good at this, about anything in your business, I want you to recognize that's a red flag of your brain trying to protect you and not presenting you with facts. And we need to look at the actual facts so you can make the change you want to make in your business and your income. That's it for today. I'll be back next week. Have a fantastic week. Bye for now.